I'm just wondering, foreclosures have been going on now for at least 3 years. Are the homeowners who are being affected, have they changed? Who were the original victims of foreclosure and who are they now?
I'm not sure I'm seeing a difference. I think in East Palo Alto especially, there's evidence that there was some redlining going on, so there were people of color that would come into our office, and I'm still seeing that type of clientele. So I'm not sure that I would see that there was a difference.
I think we would distinguish what we call the first wave from the second wave. The first wave and the impacted neighborhoods and groups, population group is the same. It's lower income people and predominantly people of color. That hasn't changed as much. But the first wave are people who were involved in what were called liar loans, or there's other kinds of lending practices where, for ulterior purposes, apparently the stock market, people were being given loans that had no hope of success. And they were the first to sort of collapse. And in our experience, in the last year or two, the people we're seeing are not that group, but people who, one, lost their jobs in the recession, so they can no longer afford their payments, and their homes are still underwater. That's a crucial factor, and I don't believe the foreclosure problem is going to go away.
Now, those people, anybody could lose their job and have mortgage payments that they can't meet. So that's not a function of being low income or being a person of color.
Well, but the margin of safety for that group is less. And in the past, in California, even if you lost your job, you had equity in your home and you could sell and take the money out or refinance. But once the homes are underwater, their value is less than their mortgage would cost. They can't sell the home and they can't get any money out of the home. So that's why they're stuck, and that's why they sit there and wait for the foreclosure to fall.
And I'm thinking with home values going down, it would be difficult anyway, except for certain neighborhoods, to get the price that you would want in terms of selling your home.
Right. So we have a lot of clients who, let's say they took out their life savings to put into a home, and prior to this whole recession, they would have been living on that life savings. They would have had this nest egg, but now because they've invested into their home, they have nothing to fall back on. Just as Martin said, they can't refinance, they can't get out from under it in any way, so they're house rich and money poor.
Does all of that coincide with the people that you see in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, in East Palo Alto, housing prices are maybe half of what they were at the top of the market. So most people who refinanced owe a lot more on their house than it's worth. East Palo Alto is heavily Latino, and Latinos tend to have jobs that were heavily affected by the downturn, jobs in construction, landscaping jobs, jobs where people are able to cut back easily. And so those folks are more heavily hit, and so the household income is just not what it was, and they can't make their payments.
Well, there were various modification programs that have been in place, but with the rate of foreclosures continuing to go on, would it be right to assume that those programs weren't really helping people?
Well, it's pretty true. To get a modification, you have to have income. If you're unemployed or your income is similar to the amount of money you're supposed to be making in your mortgage payments, the banks just aren't going to modify.
So there was a program that I'm sure you're familiar with called Making Home Affordable, and it was the umbrella program that Obama signed into effect last July, and it contains several different products. The most common, I guess, would be called the HAMP, or the Home Affordable Modification. Then there's an UP, which stands for Unemployment Program or product. There are several other ones like HARP, that's a refinance program, and on. So there is a provision for people who have become unemployed, but in my experience, because the process takes so long, either the people give up and decide they've got to sell their home, or they found a job in the meantime, so it bumps them out of that program, then they have to start again with the HAMP program. So it's really maddening. It's not, I don't think it's I think the banks are making the process a little bit too long than it needs to be. Originally, it was set up so that there would be a trial modification period of 3 months, and after which that would be morphed into a permanent modification. But I'm seeing that go on forever, and so it's not unusual. I have clients still from 2010 that have not received modification, and that is not unusual.
Are they still in their house?
Many of them are, some of them are not.
They're still in their houses, and then we have the exact same experience of people just being left in limbo for months at a time. But they're
Are they
making
still-
payments.
Oh,
They're
I
still
was
in their
gonna
house,
ask
but they're
that.
still making payments.
The
So,
original payments requested or
or the
no?
modification payment. Usually we see two different levels of sort of limbo. One, they can't even get an answer on their modification application. And then two, they do receive an answer. They get what's called a trial modification, which is, we've been saying it's only supposed to last 3 months, and instead it's lasting 6-10 months. And they can't ever get an answer as to whether that's going to become a, quote, permanent modification. But meanwhile, they're making payments, so the servicer is collecting money, and they're taking care of the house because they're trying to save it. They haven't given up yet. So the lender is benefiting by getting short-term payments, and at the same time, the lender can wait till the value increases, and then when they foreclose a year later, they've got a property that may be worth more money than if they had foreclosed right away. So there's this built-in incentive for the lenders to not move the program quickly. And we find that the lenders often frustrate any effort to work with them, or not always, but often we can't get answers or we get contradictory answers. And I tell you, we've seen a situation more than once where one department in the bank is working on a modification and another department is selling a house at foreclosure at the exact same time. And we sometimes would be the first person to tell the homeowner that their house has already been sold. They don't even know that till we tell them.
There are groups of people who are right now protesting on Wall Street and marching at different bank branches throughout the country. What is going on with the banks? And can there be pressure brought against the banks to begin to change their policies? Who's holding the banks accountable? You mentioned what went on at the beginning of the year. So did that have any result in terms of bank policies?
Well, I'd like to discuss a little bit about what's going on with the banks. One thing is, a lot of times I think, I will present a client or a homeowner to the banks and say, I think this is a good candidate for loan modification. And instead of looking at the numbers of the homeowner, which I know they do, but the thing that's more important to them is what their investors are telling them. So that there's an agreement between the servicer, or the one who the person pays the money to, and then the investor, the one who actually owns the home loan. And I tell you, those banks, or the servicer bank, cares way more what the investor thinks about that loan than they care about the clientele. And so that's what's driving the decision. Now, as far as what the banks care about, I think in my estimation there are only two things they care about, besides the servicer opinion. They care about bad publicity and they care about investigation.